Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Museum of Natural History. Thank you all for coming. And I want to really especially thank the people on the panel here, Sheila and Gil and Joe. It's not easy preparing for a thing like this. You don't know exactly how to treat a subject like this, and I'll tell you why. I've worked with all of these people for over 30 years. Most of you in the audience I've worked with for over 30 years, and it's very difficult to be at odds on an issue as sensitive as this. But let me start by saying that I've spent over 30 years of my life dedicated to improving this community. And it's not odd that I now find myself on the other side of this issue, because I found that, in fact, it's very difficult for communities to deal with change. So tonight I'm going to talk about, very simply, you've heard the details, you've seen the videos, and I will leave you with another video. I'm going to talk about the challenge that this brings to protecting our environment. I want to talk about protecting the community's ability to make rational decisions on such complex matters as this. And very frankly, I really want to leave you with a warning that our future is going to get very complex, and we do not need to go backwards in terms of the impediments we put on our decision makers. So let me start with protecting our environment. 40 years ago, environmentalism was, at least in the simple terms, you needed to stop things from affecting the environment. So it was the ability to stop things. Well, today, the challenges of peak oil, the challenges of climate change, the challenges of energy independence and economic vitality based upon that are such that, in fact, we can no longer simply say, no, we don't want things to happen. We have to become creative, and we have to be daring as to how to make things better. We actually have to solve problems, not deny them. So at CEC, we set off on a very bold goal, fossil-free by 33, moving this area off of fossil fuels in one generation. An incredibly bold goal. How will we do that? Well, we can do that by building more efficient buildings. You've heard a lot about that. More efficient transportation, more renewable energy, and very frankly, more efficient land use. For 50 years, we have built our cities on the basis of cheap fuel, cheap electricity, cheap gasoline, and we have spread ourselves into a hydra which was not sustainable over time. The challenges of peak oil coming at us, our economics, our social fabric, and our environment are threatened. CEC's blueprint recognized that, in fact, smart growth was at least an approach we need to at least adapt to Santa Barbara's ways if we're going to meet those incredible challenges. And the state has recognized that through the Global Warming Solution Act and through SB 375 on how transportation funding should be tied to sustainability. This measure moves in exactly the counter direction from what society needs to do to meet these challenges of the future. Santa Barbara will be viewed by the world as just another NIMBY community, which has said we're going to stop at the gates and not care about the effect upon the rest of the region, if not the state. We're only going to care about the aesthetics of our community, and we're not even going to care about the social health of our community and its inhabitants. Measure B is the wrong solution when it comes to our environment. Next one, my compatriots on the no on Measure B side didn't want me to talk about, but I couldn't do it couldn't come here tonight if I didn't at least give a moment. Santa Barbara, and I personally, have prided ourselves on our sense of community participation. It has served us well over the years. Even if it takes longer, what we produce generally is better. Now, there are two damn ugly buildings in that video, which was shown earlier, and that was mistakes. But I don't believe we should plan our future based upon two mistakes. And very frankly, a number of you here in the audience were on those design review boards. You should be chastised for allowing that to happen. There was no reason it needed to happen. Ballot box planning is not the way to basically bring community consensus on where we need to go, especially when there are complex competing goals, effects, and consequences of an action. This is a really bad precedent. Remember 10 years ago, Fess Parker wanted to do exactly this. Fess Parker went directly to the ballot box, let the voters decide. At that time, I think all you people who have banded together for yes on Measure B, at that time basically banded with us to say no. In fact, ballot box planning was wrong then, ballot box planning is wrong now. Measure B is the wrong solution to make informed decisions in our community. Lastly, the future. Somebody said unintended consequences, I think Gil. Let me tell you, what's coming at us in terms of challenges economically, environmentally, and socially are so large that, in fact, at this point in time, to take away the decision maker's ability to do compact infill development downtown that is appropriate in scale, is appropriate in architecture, and meets social needs, it's hard for me to understand. If in fact this had been in place in 1985, Sheila and I could not have basically planned to do Paseo Nuevo. Paseo Nuevo, you had to have a Nordstrom, you had to have a major department store anchor, you had to bring retailing back downtown, otherwise it was going to sprawl to Goleta or to some other region. We all know that. But we did the right thing. We built a Paseo that met Santa Barbara's architectural criteria and history, and we're all proud of it, and very frankly, Santa Barbara's better for it. We're not going to be able to save the Gaviota Coast if we don't have a compact area to transfer those development rights. I think this is a classic example. And what other things are there coming at us in the future which we will be precluded from doing? Very frankly, Measure B is wrong. It's wrong for the environment. It's wrong for our community. It's wrong for our future. Now, I will close with just a couple quick slides. How about arrows here, guys? Well, this is what it looked like when I came here in the 60s to go to college. This is what downtown character was. That's what State Street looked like. During that period, we decided to change the fabric of downtown. Change. Don't be afraid of it. Embrace it and make it happen. We brought change. If you look on there, you'll see Paseo Nuevo's tower from Nordstrom. Nordstrom's way over 40 feet, guys. This is what we brought today. Now, I've seen a lot of these buildings, and you're going to see the AIA video, and there's been comments made relative to what about the towers, you can do those things. Let me leave you with a note. When you watch this video, the elements, as well as the buildings themselves over 40 feet, are those elements which actually create the character we believe is Santa Barbara. Don't let that be lost.